Hi, everyone. This is Brandi Fox with Be the Entrepreneur AI Consulting Agency. And today we're going to talk about how to create and use a pitch deck for investors and funders. A lot of times people overlook the importance of a pitch deck. They feel like when they go to the investors, they need to come straight out with their business plan, which is important. But normally, the traction rate that you want to build to be able to get to investors and funders is to first create your investor cover letter. That investor cover letter is basically a one pager, basically your executive summary, where you are able to adequately explain in one page who your business is, what you do, so on and so forth. Once an investor or lender reviews your investor letter, that gives them enough insight to see if they want to learn a little bit more. From there, you'll provide them with your pitch deck, which is basically your business plan in visual form. It allows them to get the information they need a lot quicker and process it. From there, if they feel like you're a good candidate, then the next step is the business plan. You submit your business plan, which is normally a thorough written review of your business model, averages at about 18 to 25 pages, and that gives them more in-depth knowledge about your business model and what you do. Once they usually review those three things, the next step is your interview. So today, we're going to go through step 3 of this funder process, which is creating your pitch deck and how to be prepared for investors and funders when it's time to get the funding that you need for your business. Today, we'll walk through everything that you need to create a compelling pitch deck that captures the attention of investors and funders. First, I'll introduce myself and my business, Be the Entrepreneur AI Consulting Agency, so you can learn a little bit more about me and my agency and the things that we do to support startup entrepreneurs and experienced entrepreneurs when it comes to getting funding for your business. I want you to understand my expertise in this space. Not only have I won 3 pitch competitions ranging in about 15,000, I've also coached 8 successful pitch winners, allowing them to get the money they need to grow and sustain their business model. Once we learn a little bit more about me and the business, we'll dive right into a pitch deck and why it plays a critical role in securing funding. I'll break down the key elements of every part of a winning pitch deck, ensuring that your presentation is structured and engaging, and of course, most importantly, clear and concise. We'll also discuss how to craft a powerful story. A lot of people overlook the importance of storytelling when it comes to your business. Yes, numbers are important. Yes, what you do is important, but the number one important thing is the story of a brand. That's how you not only gain the attention of your clients, but that's how you gain the attention of funders. They love a strong story behind your business model. And if you can create a compelling story, sell it, and turn it into a profit, that is what makes the difference between a good pitch and a great pitch that gets funding. So let's get started with part 1. Let's get started. Be the Entrepreneur Consulting Agency is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs integrate AI driven solutions to their business strategy to help them grow effectively, as well as streamline their processes. A lot of times we lose a lot of our customers' times as entrepreneurs because we're trying to balance too many things at one time. So, with the implementation of AI into your business, you have the ability to grow your business with half the work. Now, what I tell people and what I like to be honest about is at the beginning, there is a lot of heavy footwork, setting up the systems, making sure they work well together. But the good thing is, this is a timeline process. Once you get your systems together and they're operating and they're running in one kind of cohesive space, your business now has the potential to run for the rest of the span of your business life automatically. And all we have to do as the owner is just maintain, manage, and make sure all systems consistently go together, which I always suggest with monthly troubleshooting. Just checking your processes, making sure you have some type of feedback out there for your clients. So that way, if they run into issues, they have a way to contact you as the business owner immediately to let you know what those issues are so you're able to rectify them. Our consulting services focus on marketing automation, customer engagement, data analysis, and operational efficiency. One of our key specializations is helping startups and businesses secure funding through well structured, persuasive pitch decks. We work with business owners to refine their vision, present clear financial projections, and craft a compelling investor pitch, story, and deck. Whether you're preparing for venture capital funding, angel investors, or grants, we provide the strategic guidance that maximizes your chances of success and acquiring the money that you need to help your business start and grow. Through AI and business consulting, we help entrepreneurs make data driven decisions that set them apart in competitive markets. A lot of times, as new entrepreneurs, we overlook the importance of data. Data is what streamlines and grows our business. It lets us know what our customers like, what they don't like, what they're willing to spend money on, and what they don't want to spend money on. When we know these things as an entrepreneur, it allows us to adjust our business model to meet the needs of our clients, which ultimately is the end goal of any business. One of our top goals is to simplify complex business strategies and turn them into actionable steps for growth. So, not only do I meet with you and learn about your business, but I provide you with exact step by step goals and action steps to be able to get your business to the next level and get it prepared for whatever your goal is when you meet with me. If you ever struggle to present your business effectively or secure funding, you're in the right place. Today, I'll share the exact framework that has helped entrepreneurs build pitch decks that have secured real funding. A little bit about me. I'm Brandi Fox, the owner of Be the Entrepreneur AI Consulting. And I started my first business at the tender age of 10 years old. And from there, I've always had a love for creating a profit based business that allows me to make money my own way. I've been an entrepreneur for 14 years. I started my first business in 2011. And since then, I've grown, sold, and worked with nonprofits, franchising, internal growth, internal expansion, selling, grants, loans, every type of business avenue, just about, I've had the opportunity to deal with in my over 14 years of entrepreneur experiences. From there, I decided to take my knowledge and become a business consultant, AI to be specific, because that is where the world is going. My goal is to make it so much easier for people to take their idea and take it to the business portion. A lot of times it can be very hard at the beginning to understand how to make your business get to a point of making money. So, my goal with AI and my knowledge as a business owner is to show people how to incorporate technology into their business model startup process to make it easier for them to get through all the back end work and get to their passion and the things they love to do, which is the foundation of our businesses. Now that you learned a little bit more about me and my company, let's get into pitch decks. Why is a pitch deck important and why does it matter? A pitch deck basically is a short but impactful presentation that provides snapshots of your business for potential investors and funders. It serves as a visual storytelling tool that conveys your business model, growth potential, and financial viability, which basically means, is this a good business idea? Can this business grow? Can this business make money? Those are the top three things that investors and funders are looking for when they listen to a new business model or pitch. Investors don't have time to sift through long business plans. As I told you before, most sustainable business plans are between 18 and 25 pages long. If they're getting 100 interest letters per week, they just simply do not have the time to go through 18 to 25 pages, when about 80% of those will not be businesses that they would fund. So, this is where your pitch deck comes in. Your pitch deck needs to capture your interest within minutes. They need to look at your pitch deck, which is normally between 10 and 15 slides. They need to look at that, know the base about your business. And from there, they're going to be like, hey, I like what this business is talking about. I like what this business is doing. I want to learn more. Let's set up a meeting. Let's get their business plan. Your pitch deck, where a lot of people mess up at, should be more visual. A lot of times you see people put a lot of words in their pitch deck, and that's not what pitch decks are for. Pitch decks are the visual representation of your business plan. So with pitch decks, it should be more graphs, more pictures, animation. You want to grab their attention. You want to have your text bold, but less than the animation part. You fill in the gaps of your pitch deck with your words, or feel free to add notes. This is kind of almost like your appendix of information that you provide. And that way, after they read a certain page in your pitch deck, if they want additional information, you have that notes area where they can tap into there if they feel like they need additional information. Also, it limits their chances of asking you a lot of questions. Funders are always interested in learning more. So when you say a certain part of your business, be prepared to back that up with additional questions, because a lot of times they will ask them questions. So an easy way to alleviate that is to make your pitch deck clear, concise, informative, but also I'll add that additional appendix area in the notes. So if they need additional information about anything that you say, they have some place that they can look for that. A well-crafted pitch deck will almost always increase your chances of securing funding by demonstrating easily why your business is worth investing in. Think of it as your first impression, really your second impression after your investor interest letter. If done right, it sets you apart from competitors and positions you as a credible entrepreneur. Because not only are you able to talk about your business, but you're able to visualize your business in a very easy conceptual way that allows investors and lenders to understand your business quickly. With that being said, the best pitch decks focus on problem solving, scalability, profitability, and a way to connect with their investors both logically and emotionally. So that part right there, that ties to a lot of different things. Number one, when we say connect to your investors logically, that means that whatever you're selling is something that that company or that investor is something that they're interested in purchasing. If you own a beauty products brand, it wouldn't be a good idea to take your beauty products brand pitch deck and take it to a tech investor company. Yes, it might be a great business idea. Yeah, it might be valuable, but to a tech company, it doesn't matter how much money your beauty product business is making. A lot of times, investors and lenders, they have certain areas that they're invested in. So you want to make sure before you go to investors that you also do your research and make sure that they're traditionally funding businesses within your category. That's what we mean by logically. Be logic in who you're pitching to, so that way you're not making mistakes and wasting time. Problem solving. A lot of times people forget the key to any business is solving a problem. So make sure you put how your business solves your problem on the forefront. They should know from the beginning, hey, this is the problem. This is how many people this problem is affecting. My business is solution. This is how my business can be a consistent solution to this ongoing problem that's affecting this target market. That should be kind of the mindset when you're creating your pitch deck. When we say going into profitability and scalability is your ability to grow your business into more than what it is. So, for example, with my mobile spa company, Pamper Us, I started at just massage therapy only. But every year I scaled. Year two, I added nails. Year three, I added private chef. And literally every year I added on complementary services that will make my massage company stick out against the competition. Next, of course, is profitability. Anybody that's looking for funding, anybody's looking to give funding, they want to make sure that this business idea can make them their money back, because that's their goal at the end of the day. They want to make their money back plus some. So you have to prove that, hey, not only is this a good business idea, not only is there people out here that want this idea, there is also a way for me to make significant amount of money, for me to pay myself, cover my expenses, as well as get you your money back, plus whatever fees, interest is tied to that. That is very important. Then emotionally, when you get into that storytelling portion, that's very important. That's when you tap into the emotions. Most people, investors, regular consumers, there is some type of emotional attachment to the business that you offer. So for example, if you are a company and you sell wigs for women or men, toupees for people who suffer from cancer or hair loss, if you pitch this to an investor who might have lost a family member or a friend to cancer, that's that emotional attachment. They're going to be more prone to support your business model because you've reached them emotionally. They've lost somebody to cancer. They remember, hey, them losing hair, them being sick after chemo. So you tying into a brand that they love and support, it allows them to tap in and really want to support you, because now you've hit that emotional string. Next, let's discuss what elements every successful pitch deck should include. Key elements of a winning pitch deck. Every successful pitch deck follows a structured flow to keep investors engaged and clearly communicate key details. The first section should identify the problem and how your business is the solution to that problem, and how are you uniquely addressing it. So that's a key part that a lot of people miss at the beginning of that pitch deck when we talk about problem and solution. They're like, okay, I have a solution to the problem, which is fine. But is your solution the same solution that hundreds and thousands of other businesses are providing? That is key thing to understand, because if you're in a oversaturated market, like hairstylists or makeup artists, those type of things, there's certain things that you have to implement in your business model to set you apart if you want to be successful and get the funding that you need. Now, do not get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with simplifying your business and having simplified aspects of it. But I will say the most successful businesses have some type of unique business factor that sets them apart. So, for example, if you are a makeup artist, not only are you just a regular makeup artist for special events, weddings, but you can niche yourself out to be a costume makeup artist. That is a niche, to be able to make up somebody's face to the point where they look like a animal, a plant, or anything else. That is a talent. That's something you want to put on the forefront, because when an investor is going through, if you tell them that you are a costume based makeup artist, that's going to grab their attention, and they're going to want to know, what does that look like? Now you're opening the door to more questions. They want to see your portfolio. Now you've intrigued them, compared to if you say, hey, I'm a wedding makeup artist. Not saying that's not significant, but you want to set yourself apart, and especially in oversaturated markets where there's a lot of people that's doing what you're doing. Investors want to see a large and growing market opportunity. So your market opportunity is important. Basically, your market opportunity is your target market. Is there enough people that is interested in this product that they would want to spend their money on it? That is very important, because it could be great to have, a highlighter that has an eraser. But is there a lot of people that's going to use a highlighter with an eraser? It could be not. But your job as an entrepreneur is do that back end research. And that's where a lot of entrepreneurs fall short as well. They go straight into, I want to do this business, I'm good at it, I want to make money. And then they get into it and they realize, oh my gosh, I don't know how to move in this market, or it's a lot of competition in this market. How I'm going to stand out? So, by researching and knowing exactly who your target market is, where they are you going to be able to get your product to them, and will they buy your product? That is very important. And they want to know, how big is that market? If it's 1 million people in your target market, how many people can you adequately reach? That's where that back end research comes in at. Next, they need to understand your business model. How you going to make money? It has to make sense. If you have a product based business, they're looking for production costs minus the total cost of the product. That's going to let them know what your profit margin is. They need to know per product, how much money are you going to be bringing in. That is very important. And how are you going to charge? Are you doing subscription based, one time fee? Is it a trial where they do it for 7 days and then they get it for free? You got to be able to tell them, what is your plan on how to make money? You want to show a proven revenue strategy that they can scale. So if you are doing a trial option, okay, they do trial. Right now, you might be doing, hey, you get a 30-day trial. But if you get an investor, they might be like, hey, we want to take this trial down to 7 days, because we want to get them to pay immediately before they get too many of the benefits and not need to buy the service. Next, you have your attraction and financials. I tell people all the time, it is so hard to get money as a new entrepreneur when you have not shown any traction, that there's even any interest in your business. This comes with your MVP, your minimal valuable product. This is where you create the smallest version of your business and you test it out among your target market, family, and friends. I highly suggest going towards your target market more so than family and friends, unless they are your target market, because you want quantitative data that you can take back to the investors and say, hey, my target market is these people. I tested my product with these people, and 90% of these people who are my target market said that they would buy this product today if it was available on stores. That's the type of traction that you have to build. So a lot of people, they get confused. They're like, how can I prove that my business is this if I don't have the funding to do it? If you cannot create a small version of your business with your budget, then I would be honest and tell you that maybe right now is not the time for you to start that business. You have to be able to provide something to show them that you can do this, whether that's a product sample, whether that's numbers, qualitative data where you tested your theory or tested your business with people and received feedback. You just have to show them something that says outside, and it doesn't always have to be money. People are like, well, I can't make money if I don't have a product. And I totally understand it. But sometimes it's bigger than money. Sometimes it's just showing that there's enough people out here that's willing to invest in that product. Um, Traction is definitely important and well because investors love to see sales and they love to see partnerships. People always kind of try to go into business by their own. And when I say partnership, that doesn't always mean having a specific partner that's within your business model. But what they might be interested in is having business partners, well, complementary business partners, basically, which means that if you run the company, they want to see that you have somebody that specializes in marketing to make sure your marketing is strong. You have an attorney on staff or some type of legal representation to where if something happened, you have somebody to talk to. They just want to know that you have experts in your corner, whether that be salary as needed, that you have a team together to support you. Because as an entrepreneur, y'all, to be honest, it is very hard to do this on your own. So they want to know that if something falls short, that you have people in the background that can support you in what you need to do. Your team, and that's where your team and execution comes into play. They want to make sure that all these pieces align. This person is going to do this to make sure this function. This person is going to do this to make sure that this function. And they want to know, what do they bring to the team? Okay, we see your team. Your team looks amazing. What are they bringing to make sure that this business is successful? That's what you want to clearly articulate when you're doing your pitch deck as well. And lastly, closing out an execution plan. They want to see action steps. Hey, so if we do get the funding, we're going to do this by this date, this by this date, this by this date, this by this date. Let them know when you need the money in your plans. Even if we don't get the money, we'll still be able to do this. But with your money, we'll be able to do so much more. That's really what you want to explain, because they don't want it to seem like you are 100% dependent on their money. They know, of course, that their money will help you grow faster, make you scale easier, so on and so forth. But they want to know that you have the grit, tenacity, and adaptability to be able to get some type of traction and some type of leverage, some type of revenue on your own prior to. So show what you can do without them, but show how much better you can do with them. Now, let's go back to what we talked about at the beginning, the importance of telling a compelling story. So, not only are you just giving information about your business like you would do a school presentation, you're telling a story, you're grabbing them emotionally, and you letting them know, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm passionate about it. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm going to make sure that this business is going to be successful. Remember, investors hear hundreds of pitches often, and facts alone won't make yours stand out. You need to tell a compelling story. Start with a powerful hook, something that immediately grabs their attention. This can be a shocking statistic, a personal struggle, or a customer success story. Make your audience connect emotionally with the problem and demonstrate the journey that led to your solution. Share why this business matters to you personally. Passion is contagious. Y'all, people can hear it in your voice. When you talk about something, when you're passionate, literally, it's almost like you transition into a different mindset in what you're talking about. I know for me, when I've done pitch competitions and I've talked about my journey, especially as an entrepreneurship consultant, I don't even need cards. I don't even need to remember, because I know internally the reason why I do this every day. It's innate. It's not something I really have to think about. So if you can take that innate passion that you have for what you're going into and put it in words, this is what's going to make a difference for you. Investors want to know that you are deeply invested in their mission, not only in the financial part of the mission, but the meat of the mission, the reason why, the heart of your business. The heart is just like the heart of a business is just like the heart in the body. If as long as it's pumping, the body is pumping. As long as your passion is pumping, that investor knows that you are going to keep this business pumping. So, for example, if we go back to the example with the company that makes wigs for women and men who have experienced hair loss due to chemo, if you are pitching to, like I said, an investor that has lost a family member, friend, or someone close to them due to cancer, they're going to be tied into you. They're going to hear your passion. They're going to know your passion, because you guys are now at this point connecting over a trauma. And once you get that connection in place, you know how they're feeling. They know how you're feeling. You put yourself in a position to be able to hone them in on the true pain of what goes into dealing with chemo and losing your hair. Once you grab them there, and then you can tie it to how you can make profit, you sold. You sold. Whether it's improving lives, disrupting the industry, or solving a costly problem, the best pitches combine data with emotion. Numbers provide the logic, but storytelling builds excitement and trust. When you can clearly communicate your vision in a relatable and engaging way, investors are more likely to believe in it as well as support it. Now that we know how to storytell, let's go into making sure that it's visually appealing. Like I said before, pitch decks are not made for words. These are visual representation of your business plan. So you should have a lot of animations, videos, MVPs, pictures of your products. If you have a new app, you should have screenshots of your app showing how to go through each page or some type of promo video. You should have data. You should have large numbers. So those big numbers, if you're saying, hey, with my business, I'm making a 90% profit margin, that 90 should be bold and it should say profit margin under it. Because when they see that 90%, that's a large number. That 90% is going to gauge their attention. And if you can say that you can prove 90% profit margin, that's the kind of numbers that they want to hear. So remember, you want to focus more on the presentation, the visual aspect of your information, and less on the words. Then, as I stated before, if you need any type of appendix or bibliography type information to give additional insight into anything that you put it in the notes section. And make sure that when you give them the pitch deck, if you do it in person, make sure you print out the adequate notes to go along with the pitch. But if you're doing it digitally, those notes will automatically show up. So design matters more than you think when it comes to pitch decks. Investors don't want to read paragraphs of text. They need quick, impactful visuals. Use minimal text and focus on visuals like graphs, icons, images, and videos to convey your message clearly. Keep your design clean, modern, and consistent. Stick to a professional color scheme and ensure your branding is present but not overwhelming. And what they mean by present but not overwhelming is that for me, I'm real big on just, even if you look at my visual here, you see my logo in the top left hand corner. That's it. That's enough for me to maintain brand consistency, but it's not overwhelming to like, oh my goodness, she has this on everything. Kind of, your pitch deck should not look like a YouTube video. Have you ever looked at a YouTube video and as soon as you click on it, it got buttons here, all kind of animations, click here, ding here, follow me here, set up notifications, buy here. Pitch decks are not technically, they're not for you to sell a product. They're for you to gain interest for funding, if that makes sense. So you're not selling it to your investors as if you want them to buy it. You're selling it to them as if you want them to give you the money and invest in it on a larger scale. So with that being said, you don't have to do as much selling. They already know who you are. They know your name. They know your business. So they know the basics. So remember, you're not selling to them. You're really informing them of what your business can do so that they can fund you. Choose clear, easy to read fonts and avoid cluttering slides with too much information. You guys, script font is beautiful, but it's hard to read. You want to, if you look at my pitch deck, very simple presentation font that as soon as I read it, I don't have to squint. I can look at it and see exactly what it says and be able to allow my brain to process that. If they have to think too much on what they're reading or trying to understand it, it's going to make it hard for them to be able to support your business because they didn't spend so much time just trying to understand and decipher what you're trying to tell them. Use high quality images and infographics to enhance your message. Guys, when you're using videos and pictures, you want it to be clear and crisp. If that picture is not showing up clear, if it's any type of blurriness in it, go ahead and replace it. You want every picture to be clear. You want every video to be clear, and you want them to be able to adequately see the information that you're trying to show without any distractions due to quality of what you're using. I highly suggest Canva, or there are also other photo and video software companies that you can utilize, and you're able to download templates of different pictures. So literally you can go into their software and type in medical professional in a white coat, and it'll pull up all kind of, commercial free pictures that you can use or purchase. So invest in your pitch deck. Make sure you do it right. Make sure it looks good, because you only got one chance to really do this right for this group. And once you kill it, you'll get the opportunity to get the funding you need. A pitch deck should be typically between 10 to 12 slides max. I agree. If you need to put additional information, up to 15, but 12 is a good solid number. That's in between 10 and 15. 12 to 13 is a good solid number. Not too much, but that usually covers the most important information for your business. The goal is to make it easy for them to absorb the information while keeping them engaged. A well designed pitch deck shows professionalism, credibility, and attention to detail, which are all the things that real investors are looking for in a founder. Okay, so now we created a story, we got our visuals together, we know what it needs to look like. Now let's talk about presenting your pitch deck. Guys, the presentation part is just as important as the look of it, the storytelling, everything. Practice, practice, practice. Practice in the mirror, practice with family and friends, practice in the car. I remember when I did my first pitch deck, I did my pitch so much, my entire family knew my pitch. So when we were at the competition, my my husband and my kids were mouthing. Well, my oldest daughter, my son was a little younger, but they knew it. They were mouthing it with me. When I was practicing it in the car on the way to the pitch deck, they were saying it with me. If I forgot a portion, I had said it so much around them, like if I got a brain fart and I forgot, they would fill in the gaps. That's how in tune that you should be in that pitch deck. You should be able to wake up and say it in your sleep. You should be able to say it as soon as you get up. You should be able, I used to like try to trick myself. I'll just be like, hey, um, what's the best way to get your business in front of people? And then I'll just go into my pitch deck just like that. So that's how in tune you should be. And I say practice in the mirror as well, because you want to make sure that your face, your mannerism, make sure that it's giving what it needs to give. For me, I am a hands-on person. So you can't see me now, but underneath down here, I'm literally moving my hands and you kind of see me moving my head. That allows me to keep my rhythm in check when I'm talking. So as a person that's I was in the band, so I know that kind of our body structure all runs on a rhythm. So for me to keep up with my algorithm of how I'm talking and what I'm saying, my hands do certain things that keep me all in alignment with what I need to say. So that's something that I use. I also am really big on note cards. I do not take my note cards to pitch decks, but I utilize note cards so that way I can repeat and read and repeat everything that I'm trying to say. And I like the note cards because it put me in the motion of remembering what's next. And I number them 1, 2, 3. So that way, as I'm going through my pitch deck and I'm remembering it as I'm going through my note cards, I'm like, okay, one goes to slide 1, 2, 3. And you start getting that reputation feel in place. Now, those are just techniques that I've used to be able to remember different types of pitching my pitch deck and be able to make sure I present it in an adequate way. But even the best designed pitch decks won't secure funding if you don't present it with confidence. The first step is to know your numbers inside and out. Investors are going to ask you detailed financial questions and you need to be ready. I tell people all the time, there's no pitch that you're giving, especially directly to investors, even in pitch competitions where they're not going to ask some questions. So you need to know your business inside and out enough to where any question they ask you, or a majority of the questions that they ask you, that you are prepared to answer those questions. That's going to be very important. So your numbers, make sure these are real numbers that you're coming up with. If they ask you, hey, you said that you can pull in 100,000 per month, how is that possible when your product is only $5 and you're talking about your goal is to sell 200 a month? 200 at $5 does not equal 100,000 a month. So just make sure whatever details and information you put in there, that it makes sense. And if you have questions about financials, you guys, certain things in business, I am a bootstrapper. I love the bootstrap. Anything that I can do on my own, I'm definitely going to try to do on my own. But I will say, on the back end, things that you don't know or that are not your strength, hire somebody that you trust to handle that part. When it comes to financials, get an accountant to go ahead and handle your financials. Give them all the information they need, the products you plan to sell, all that good stuff, and let them create the numbers for you. So that way you have numbers to back what you're saying, and these are real numbers based on your goal and what you've already put in your pitch deck. Practice your pitch until it feels natural. This will help you avoid sounding rehearsed, and it will keep you prepared. That way, even when you're talking, you're going to know it so well that even if you take a pause break, you slip up a little bit, you're going to be able to bounce right back in it like you never left, because it's tied in your brain at this point. Engage your audience with energy and enthusiasm. So don't go up here like you're doing a school presentation. You want to practice walking. You want to practice pointing. If you have any props, you want to have those available. You want to give full 110% energy through the whole thing. People can see it. If you look nervous, they're going to see it. If you don't sound confident in what you're saying, they're going to see it. You want them to know and understand that there is nothing about this business that you don't know or that you're not prepared to answer, and that you're 100% behind the funding and support of your business model to take it to the next level. You want to let your passion shine through. Use your body language, make eye contact, build trust and credibility. Eye contact is very, very important. When I'm pitching, not only am I looking at the audience, but I'm making sure I'm taking time to make eye contact with each judge. So that way they know, okay, she confident. She making eye contact. This makes sense. She giving passion. She's walking. She's giving, you want to give them the full persona because they need somebody that's confident. When you can't present as confident, then they assume that you're not confident. And if you're not confident in your business, they're not going to be confident in your business. So it all starts with you and the energy that you give. So keep it positive, keep it strong. Investors will always have questions, so be prepared to answer them thoughtfully. A strong and confident presentation increases your chances of making a lasting impression, but being able to answer those follow-up questions, showing that you really know your business model, is what's going to help you secure that funding that you need. Now that we went over the process of creating your pitch deck from beginning to end, let's go over some of the common mistakes that I want you to avoid as you're building your pitch deck. Number one, you want to make sure that the slides are visually engaging, not overwhelming. Don't overcomplicate your business model. Keep it simple and easy to understand. If you create baby dolls at this price that specialize, let's say, in kids that have, like, let's go back to our cancer example. Kids who are struggling with chemo and don't have hair. If you wanted to create a chemo Barbie doll, then that would be a great idea. Keep it simple. Hey, a lot of kids that are dealing with cancer, they don't have baby dolls that represent them. So I created a cancer baby doll with a slew of wigs where they can go and add on different hair and style it to their liking. Very simple. They know exactly who my target market is. They know why I've created this baby doll. They know how I make money, and they know how it supports my passion of supporting people who are suffering from the side effects of chemotherapy. Keep explanations simple and easy to understand. Weak financial projections or missing financial data will raise red flags. So make sure that your numbers are solid. The top numbers they're looking for: cash flow, balance, profit and loss. They want to know how much money you plan on bringing in per month, how many of each product will you be selling to reach this, what is your growth plan? The first 6 months is going to be the hardest month. How much do you plan to sell? How do you plan to sell this? What are you looking like at the end of the year? How are we going to make sure that year 2 makes more money than year 1? These are the type of information that they're going to look. And it all ties together, you guys. So when you talk about your marketing and sales plan, that ties into your financial plan, because when you talk about marketing and sales, how you're going to gain the people, then that goes into how you're going to make money from these clients. So it all ties together. Your business plan tells a story, and your pitch should follow that same story in a visual format. Another mistake is focusing too much on the product and not enough on the market opportunity. Investors care more about potential growth than just features. So, for example, a lot of times people go in, like, let's say if you have a hair product, you're like, oh, it has no parabens, no GMO, no this, no that, all natural. These are good benefits, and these are good things, features to tell about the business, which is fine. They want to know what makes you different, but they want to know on the back end, selling that differentiation factor is very different than showing how you're going to make money and that there's an audience for it. So keep the details about the business model, the product. Keep it simple and to the point. Hey, we are the solution because of this. We're going to provide this. What makes us unique is that we offer this. It should be no more than 2 slides that talk about the features of what you offer in your business. The rest of it should go into showing why your business is going to make money, why your service or product is going to be profitable. Finally, please, please, please practice your pitch deck, y'all. I don't care how much you think you know your business. I've been doing it for 14 years, and if I was to do a pitch next week, I would have note cards and I would be relearning the key fundamentals of my business. So please do not try to go up here with just note cards. You shouldn't have no note cards at all. You should be able to go through your presentation and be able to adequately present yourself, present your business through memorization of your pitch plan. You can lose a big investment by not being able to pitch, because you can feel confident at home, but I'm telling you, when you get in front of these investors, when you get in front of these judges, when you get in front of these audience of people, y'all, the feeling is totally different. Like your nerves start to go. All of a sudden, things are leaving your brain that's been there. You're sweating. So it's a lot of nerve driven things that can happen when you get on the stage. So by being adequately prepared and knowing it like the back of your hand, it allows you to be able to spill it out, even with all the factors against you. You're going to know it so well that you're going to be confident to be able to sell it in any type of atmosphere. Adapting your pitch. Another mistake that people make is they feel like one pitch fits all. This is not true. Depending on who you're going to and what their focus is, your pitch needs to adapt to that. So if we go back to our cancer example, now you might have a company that creates wigs for women who have lost their, or men who have lost hair due to chemotherapy. But if you're going to a grantor that is looking to fund a cancer support group, you're going to have to change that pitch deck up. Now, mind you, the foundation of your business model is still supporting people who has cancer, but this specific grant is not looking for wigs specifically. You might want to create something, some type of program like a wig creation workshop for people. So that way, people who might not have the money to always buy those wigs, they can come in and learn how to create their own wigs and turn that into a support group. Hey, we're able to support people through creating their own wigs and being able to also have key talking points during this sewing section. So that way we can support each other through the elements and side effects of going through chemo. So you're able to keep the foundation, the meat of your business, but be prepared to transition some of those features to get the money that you need. Every pitch deck is not the same, and every pitch deck should not go to each funder, because not all investors or funders are looking for the same things. Venture capitalists, VCs, they are focused on scalability and fast growth. They need a business that's making 100 today, and they want you to have a plan on how you're going to be making 500,000 within the next 12 months. They want the money, they want quick scalability. Angel investors tend to invest in early stage businesses and passionate founders who can execute a vision. So if you find an angel investor, most of the time this is one person or maybe one or two people that love your idea. For example, if we go back to our cancer example, it might be like I said, you might have an investor, an angel investor that has a family member that has been affected by chemo or cancer. They're going to be willing to invest in you at the beginning because they know what you can do. They know how important your product is to this specific industry, and they see your passion behind it. So they like, you know what? I love your passion. I love what you're doing. I can relate to it. I want to go ahead and fund you so you can start well. Corporate funders, they're looking for industry relevance. They want to make sure that you have a strategic alignment with their brand. They want to know that if they hire you or book your business or fund your business, that you're going to be able to make whatever their corporate process is that much easier. Government grants usually focus on community impact and sustainability. They want to see that how your business benefits the public. What are you doing? How are you doing? What are the numbers? If you are doing a hair event for your cancer patients, how many people came out? How many volunteers did you have? How many people walked away with free wigs by the end of the session? These are key things that you want to keep in mind as you're moving forward, adapting it to meet the needs and the normal protocols of each funder. Now that we've covered everything from structuring your pitch deck to storytelling to design, presentation creation, and investor targeting, now it's time to put those strategies to action to create your ideal pitch deck. If you need assistance in creating your pitch deck, Be the Entrepreneur AI Consultant specializes in pitch deck creation services. We can take your business plan or business model idea and turn it into a fully sustainable pitch deck. With that, we can also do one-on-one consultations to help you write out your pitch outline, as well as prepare you to pitch in front of people by showing you techniques and being your mentor and practicing and remembering your pitch deck to crash your amazing pitch day. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was great meeting you guys. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And if you need us, watch this next slide to have our contact information on how you can reach Be the Entrepreneur for your pitch deck creation needs.